Yo, welcome back, you beautiful muscle-hungry beast. This is part 2 of the Lean Muscle Gain series. And if you haven't watched part 1 yet, you better pause this video like it owes you money, and go hit that first. Last time, we broke down what hypertrophy actually is. And no, that's not some weird Greek god of glutes. It's just a fancy word for getting swole. We also covered how your body builds muscle. You stress it out, it panics a little, then it gets thicker. Kind of like your ex after lockdown. Too soon. Nah, they know what they did. But today, we're dialing in on how to train smarter, not just harder. Not every set has to leave you crying in the locker room. Not every workout needs to feel like a near-death experience. Unless you're into that sort of thing, no judgment. We're talking volume, intensity, and effort. The holy trinity of gains. Get these right, and you'll grow. Ignore them, and you'll just be that person flexing in the mirror with the same size arms since 2022. So let's unpack how to train like someone who actually wants results, without living in the gym or dry humping a preacher curl machine for 45 minutes straight. Let's get into it. Let's kick things off with the foundation of every effective muscle building plan, training volume. And no, it's not some new pre-workout flavor or the latest gym bro buzzword. It's actually one of the most important things you'll ever track in your training, even if you've never written down a single set in your life. Training volume is basically the total amount of work you put your muscles through over time. Think of it as the rent you pay your body in order to grow. Miss a few payments? Don't be surprised if you get evicted from your own gains. The formula is dead simple. Sets multiplied by reps, multiplied by the weight you lifted. That's it. So if you do 4 sets of 10 reps with 50 pounds, your total volume for that movement is 2,000 pounds. It sounds like a lot, until you realize that's the bare minimum your body needs to start thinking, damn, maybe I should get bigger so this guy stops torturing me every Tuesday. Now, when we say volume drives hypertrophy, we're not just talking from bro experience. This is backed by research. And the magic number seems to land somewhere between 10 to 20 hard sets per muscle group per week. That's the sweet spot for most people. If you're new to lifting, start closer to 10. If you've been chasing the pump longer than your last 3 relationships lasted combined, you can slide up toward 20. But remember, these aren't your half-assed, going through the motions sets while scrolling TikTok. We're talking about hard, focused, challenging sets that make you question your life decisions somewhere around rep 8. And here's the catch that no one tells you. Volume without effort is like doing cardio with a donut in each hand. Fun? Maybe. Productive? Not even close. So it's not just about racking up sets and reps for the sake of it. It's about making sure those sets actually count. But here's the twist. Volume can be high, moderate, or even a bit lower, depending on another key factor. Intensity. Because if volume is the amount of work you do, intensity is how much that work actually hurts in a good way. Let's dig into that. All right, now let's talk about intensity, which is just a fancy way of saying, how hard are you actually pushing yourself? Because doing 5 sets of bench press is great, but if you're re-racking the bar like, wow, that was a nice warm-up, then congratulations, you just wasted 30 minutes and probably left the gym with the same chest you walked in with. Let's not do that. Intensity comes in 2 flavors. The first is percentage-based. You'll hear lifters say things like, I'm doing 3 sets at 85% of my 1 rep max, which is great if you're a power lifter or a spreadsheet addict or someone who gets a little too excited about calculating numbers in between sets. But for the rest of us, there's a simpler way. Enter RPE and RIR. RPE means rate of perceived exertion. It's basically how hard a set feels on a scale from 1 to 10. A 10 means you couldn't do another rep even if your gym crush was watching. A 9 means maybe 1 more rep left in the tank. An 8 means you're working, but still have 2 solid reps left. RIR, reps in reserve, is just the reverse. How many more reps could you have done before tapping out? If you finish a set and you've got 4 or 5 reps left in you, you're not training, you're just lifting stuff. For muscle growth, you want to be finishing most of your sets with 0 to 3 reps in reserve. That's the gold zone. That's where the muscle fibers start screaming and your body says, Okay, fine, I'll grow. Just please stop doing this every 3 days. And here's where volume and intensity come together like a beautiful, painful marriage. If your volume is low, your intensity better be sky high. If your volume is high, maybe you ease off the gas a tiny bit, but not much. You can't slack on both and expect results. That's like skipping leg day and pretending it doesn't matter. Everyone can tell. Your shorts can't lie forever. This is also why tracking your effort matters, more than obsessing over your weights. Sure, numbers on the bar are cool, but what matters more is whether you're actually challenging your muscles. You could lift lighter weights and still grow, as long as you push close to failure. It's not about ego, it's about effort. And effort is something you control every single set, every single rep, every single time you step into that gym. Now that we've locked down volume and intensity, you might be wondering, how do you actually put all this together to make sure you're getting stronger and bigger over time? That's where the real magic happens. Let's talk progressive overload, the secret to unlocking consistent gains without burning out or plateauing, like your ex's business idea. So you've got your training volume dialed in. You understand intensity, and you're finally pushing your sets into that sweet 0 to 3 reps in reserve zone. Awesome. But if you stop there, you're going to hit a wall so hard your pump will ghost you. Because here's the truth. Your body doesn't care what you did last week. It only cares if you're doing more than last time. This is the principle of progressive overload, and it's the single most important concept in all of resistance training. If you're not progressing, you're not growing. End of story. Now, progress doesn't always mean lifting heavier weights every session. Unless you're on some mythical Bulgarian meat protocol, your strength isn't going to skyrocket week after week. And that's okay. There are multiple ways to overload your muscles, and they all count. Add more weight. Do more reps with the same weight. Add an extra set or 2 over time. Use stricter form, better control, slower tempo. Decrease rest time between sets. Every one of those is progress, even if your ego doesn't want to hear it. Want a super practical way to track this? Keep a training log. Seriously, whether it's a notebook, a notes app, or a spreadsheet from hell, track your lifts. What did you do last week? Did you do more this week? If yes, you're winning. If not, it's time to look at why. One of the best methods to implement is called double progression. Here's how it works. Let's say your goal is 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps. Once you can hit the top of that range, 10 reps on all 3 sets, you bump up the weight slightly next time. You drop back down to 8 reps and climb again. Rinse, repeat, grow. It's a simple, sustainable system. And if you use it consistently, you'll look back in 6 months and realize you've added 40 to 50 pounds to your major lifts without ever hitting a dramatic wall or plateau. So yes, train hard. But more importantly, train forward. Let's build on that with a closer look at how reps and sets actually play into muscle growth, and why you don't need to live in a low-rep dungeon to get jacked. Here's the question that never dies. Bro, should I do high reps or low reps to build muscle? The answer? Yes, both. Sort of. Let's break it down. Muscle growth, aka hypertrophy, doesn't really care if you're lifting 6 reps or 20 reps, as long as you're pushing those reps close to failure. That's the secret. It's not the rep range that builds muscle. It's the effort inside that range. That said, there's a sweet spot where most people see the best results without burning out or dying of boredom mid-set. That range is usually somewhere between 6 and 15 reps per set. Low reps, think 3 to 5, are awesome for building strength, but they usually require heavier loads, longer rest, and place more stress on joints and your nervous system. Great for powerlifters, not so much for the average gym rat trying to fill out a t-shirt. On the flip side, super high reps, like 20, 30, or more, can build muscle, but they feel like cardio dressed up as resistance training. And let's be honest, by the time you hit rep 27, your lungs are quitting before your biceps. So the middle ground, the 6 to 15 range, gives you the perfect balance. You can use challenging loads, maintain good form, and accumulate enough volume to stimulate hypertrophy without dying inside. Here's a simple structure. 4 compound lifts. Stick with 6 to 10 reps. For isolation movements, Feel free to go up to 12 to 15 reps. But again, it's not just about the numbers. You can train in the perfect rep range and still get zero results if you're quitting with 5 reps left in the tank. So, whatever range you pick, make it count. Make your muscles work. Because reps are just numbers. Effort is what transforms them into growth. Speaking of effort, let's talk about what happens when you go all in. Like literally to failure. Ah yes, failure training. The glorious, painful moment when your muscles tap out, your soul leaves your body, and your face starts making noises your mouth can't explain. But here's the question. Should you be training to failure all the time? Well, yes and no. Let's start with what it actually means. Training to failure means performing a set until you physically cannot complete another rep with proper form. Not it kinda hurts or I'm bored now. We're talking about actual mechanical failure. The bar won't move. The muscle quits. Game over. Now, going to failure does have some big upsides. It maximizes muscle fiber recruitment. It tells your body, yo, this workload is too much. We need more muscle to handle this next time. And it can be an excellent way to ensure you're not undertraining, especially if you're unsure what real intensity feels like. But it's not all sunshine and shredded pecs. Going to failure on every set, especially big compound movements like squats or deadlifts, can wreck your recovery, fry your nervous system, and turn your joints into ticking time bombs. So here's the smart move. Save failure for your final set of an exercise, or use it more often on isolation exercises, where the risk is lower and the fatigue is manageable. That way, you still get the intensity benefits without turning every session into a recovery nightmare. Bottom line, failure is a tool, not a requirement. Use it strategically. Respect it. Don't abuse it. Unless you enjoy waking up sore in places you didn't know had muscles. Let's move on to another underrated piece of the hypertrophy puzzle. What exercises you're actually doing. Look, not all exercises are created equal. Some hit multiple muscle groups, move a ton of weight, and make you feel like a total badass. Others just give you a good burn and look great for Instagram. The key is knowing when to use what. Let's start with the heavy hitters. Compound movements. These are your squats, deadlifts, bench presses, rows, pull-ups, overhead presses. They work multiple muscle groups at once, let you move heavier loads, and give you the most bang for your buck when it comes to building overall mass and strength. Think of compound lifts like your main course. They're where the growth really happens. But then we've got isolation exercises, things like curls, triceps extensions, lateral raises, leg curls. They target a single muscle group at a time. And while they won't make you look like a powerlifter, they're essential for rounding out your physique, bringing up weak points, and adding volume without crushing your recovery. So what's the move? Start your workouts with compound lifts. Go heavy, go hard, track your progress. Then finish with isolation movements. Chase the pump, get close to failure, add volume where it counts. It's not either or, it's both. That's how you build a balanced, muscular physique that's not just strong, but also aesthetic as hell. And speaking of balance, how often should you actually be hitting each muscle? Glad you asked. Let's sneak in one last tip before we land this gain train. Training frequency. It's not just about how hard you train, it's about how often you train. And research is pretty clear on this. Training each muscle group twice per week tends to deliver better gains than just once a week. Why? Because you're spreading out volume, giving muscles more chances to grow, and reinforcing skill and movement patterns more often. Plus, you're not waiting a full week to hit chest again just because it's Monday and that's the rule. Now, this doesn't mean you have to abandon your split routine. You can still do push and pull and legs, or upper and lower, or full body. There are tons of ways to structure this. We'll break it all down in part 4, where we go deep into workout splits, weekly layouts, recovery, and how to structure your training so you don't burn out or stall out. So yeah, twice a week per muscle? Strong move. More frequency usually means more growth, as long as you're recovering. All right, so let's bring this all together for a second. We've covered how to actually train for muscle growth, not just show up and sweat. Volume, intensity, progressive overload, failure, frequency, it all matters. But what really matters is that you actually apply this stuff. Because lifting without intention is like swiping right without reading the bio. Yeah, it might feel good, but it ain't gonna lead to long-term gains. Now, real quick, I want to give you something before we wrap up. But first, let me ask you for a little favor. If you've gotten anything useful from this video, drop any comment below. A question, a thought, your favorite set/rep combo, or just say banana for no reason. Why? Because YouTube pushes videos with engagement, and I'd love for this to reach another brother out there who's stuck doing 27 sets of biceps curls, wondering why his sleeves still wrinkle instead of stretch. Help me help him. You drop a comment, I get closer to monetization. He gets better gains. Everyone wins. Now here's my suggestion for what to watch next. You've got the training side down now, right? But here's the problem no one talks about. Even if you train perfectly, if you don't understand how to eat for your goals, you're either going to get fat or stay skinny with a pump that disappears by the time you reach your car. So if you haven't seen it yet, go check out the video I made a few weeks ago. How to build muscle without getting fat, bulk, maintain, cut explained. It walks you through the entire cycle of muscle growth, so you know when to eat more, when to maintain, and how to actually cut without shrinking into a sad little raisin. It's less specific than this series, but super useful for building your long-term strategy. It's popping up on the right side of your screen. Just give it a click before you scroll away. YouTube's algorithm is going to try to tempt you with cat videos and arm wrestling fails, but trust me, this one's worth it. Now for those of you sticking with this series, next week we're diving deep into nutrition for lean muscle, calories, macros, meal timing, supplements, and how to avoid turning your bulk into a belly. So yeah, I upload every week, and every episode connects. Stick with me, because your best physique isn't built in a day, but it can absolutely start today. Stay consistent, stay focused, and stay a chimp, my brother. See you next week.